We live in the most convenient era in human history. A button turns on appliances. Smartphones manage our schedules. AI handles tasks that once required human thought. This is efficiency perfected, the dream of progress realized. But there's a paradox hidden beneath this convenience as society becomes increasingly functional. Our bodies are becoming increasingly dysfunctional. Welcome to an exploration of how modern efficiency is quietly dismantling the very machinery that makes us human, our bodies. Think about your daily routine. How many steps do you take? How often do you squat, twist, reach, or balance? For most of us, these fundamental human movements have vanished from everyday life. We drive instead of walk. We sit in ergonomic chairs designed to eliminate the need for postural control. We order groceries online rather than carrying bags. Every innovation removes another opportunity for our bodies to do what they evolved to do, move. This isn't just laziness or modern convenience, it's a neurological crisis. The human body is designed with an expectation of constant use. Muscles, joints, and neural pathways require regular stimulation to maintain function. When we stop using them, the brain doesn't preserve these capabilities, for later it eliminates them. Neuroscience calls this use-dependent plasticity. The brain literally rewires itself to optimize for a sedentary existence, deleting motor programs we no longer access. Physical therapists encounter this constantly. Patients arrive complaining of chronic pain, stiffness, or weakness, but examinations reveal no structural damage. The problem isn't injury, it's disuse. Their bodies have forgotten how to function. Simple movements like standing from a chair or bending to pick something up become awkward, inefficient, even painful. This condition is called disuse syndrome, and it's epidemic. Consider your feet. Humans evolved walking barefoot on uneven terrain, grass, rocks, sand, mud. Our foot arches toe. Muscles and ankle stabilizers developed to navigate this complexity. Every step provided sensory feedback that informed balance, posture, and movement coordination. But modern life has eliminated this variability. We walk on flat floors, wearing cushioned shoes that remove almost all sensory input. The result? Our feet have become passive platforms rather than active sensory organs. Research shows that foot sensory input accounts for approximately 70% of postural control. When we lose foot awareness, the body compensates using knees, hips, and spine in ways they weren't designed for. This cascading dysfunction explains why so many people develop chronic lower back pain, knee problems, and neck tension without any clear injury. The root cause isn't in the painful area, it's in feet that have stopped communicating with the brain. The pelvis tells a similar story. Prolonged sitting has turned this mobile, dynamic structure into a locked, rigid platform. The pelvis is designed to move constantly, tilting during walking, rotating during reaching, stabilizing during breathing. But desk work freezes it in place for hours daily. The sacroiliac joints stiffen, hip flexors shorten, and the deep core muscles, the multifidus, transverse abdominis, and pelvic floor lose their automatic activation patterns. This creates what therapists call core dysfunction. But it's not really about weak abs. It's about lost motor intelligence. Normally, when you reach for something, your core muscles activate a split second before your arm moves, stabilizing your spine anticipatorily. This unconscious coordination is what allows efficient, effortless movement. But prolonged sitting erases these motor programs. The body forgets the choreography of integrated movement, forcing superficial muscles to compensate for deep stabilizers that have gone silent. Here's where it gets really interesting. This physical dysfunction doesn't stay in the body, it migrates to the mind. The connection between movement and emotion is far deeper than most people realize. The James Lang theory of emotion proposes that feelings don't just cause physical responses. They are physical responses that the brain interprets. Your heart races, your breathing quickens, your muscles tense, and your brain labels this pattern as fear or anxiety. When the body becomes static and unresponsive, Emotional range narrows. People who sit for extended periods with shallow breathing and minimal muscle activation literally have fewer physiological states available for their brains to interpret as emotions. Clinical observation confirms this. Patients with depression tend to have restricted movement patterns, shallow breathing, rigid postures, and reduced facial expressiveness. The question becomes, are they depressed because they don't move? Or do they not move because they're depressed? The answer is both. It's a bidirectional loop. Motivation and willpower live in the same loop. The basal ganglia and dopamine reward system. The brain's motivational circuitry are activated by movement. Physical activity triggers dopamine release, which creates the feeling of, I want to do that again. Sedentary lifestyles deprive this system of stimulation, creating a vicious cycle. Inactivity reduces dopamine, which reduces motivation to move, which increases inactivity. What feels like a personal failing, I just can't get motivated, is often a neurochemical consequence of physical stillness. Even breathing, that most automatic of functions, becomes compromised. Modern life keeps us in chronic low level. Stress, digital notifications, multitasking, time pressure. This activates the sympathetic nervous system and shifts breathing into the upper chest rather than the diaphragm. Chest breathing is shallow, inefficient, and perpetuates the stress response. Over time, the diaphragm and intercostal muscles weaken, making deep breathing difficult. Even when we try, this matters enormously because breathing is the only autonomic function we can consciously control. It's the bridge between mind and body, voluntary and involuntary. When breathing becomes chronically shallow, we lose access to our primary tool for nervous system regulation. Anxiety, insomnia, and difficulty concentrating often have their roots in respiratory dysfunction, caused by postural collapse and muscle tension. Posture itself functions as an input device for the brain. Research on embodied cognition shows that physical positions influence mental states. Slumped shoulders compress the chest cavity, restrict breathing, and signal defeat to the brain's emotional centers. Conversely, an open chest and lifted sternum facilitate deeper breathing and activate more confident, stable emotional states. This isn't just correlation. Posture directly modulates neurotransmitter activity, particularly serotonin. Depression patients frequently show decreased activity in spinal erector muscles, the muscles that hold us upright. Postural interventions that restore extension capacity often improve mood, not through some mystical mind-body connection, but through measurable changes in autonomic balance and neurochemical signaling. The slogan, "Fake it till you make it," actually has neurological validity. Adopting a confident posture can initiate the physiological cascade that creates confidence. So what do we do about this? The solution isn't simply exercise more. Most modern fitness approaches isolated muscle training. Cardio machines, targeted body part workouts don't address the fundamental problem: degraded movement quality and lost sensory awareness. You can have strong abs and still lack core integration. You can run marathons and still have terrible gait mechanics. The answer lies in 3 key principles. First, prioritize movement quality over quantity. Don't just move more, move better. This means slowing down and paying attention to how movements feel. Notice the weight shift when you stand. Feel the ground beneath your feet when you walk. Let movements have a beginning, middle, and end rather than rushing through them mechanically. This conscious attention reactivates dormant neural pathways and restores sensory-motor integration. Second, restore sensory awareness before addressing strength. The body can't coordinate what it can't feel. Proprioception, knowing where your body is in space, depends on constant sensory feedback from skin, muscles, joints, and vestibular organs. Modern life numbs this. We need to reawaken it through practices that emphasize internal attention. Feeling breath move through the torso, noticing subtle weight shifts, perceiving muscle tension patterns. This interoceptive awareness is the foundation for voluntary motor control and emotional regulation. Reclaiming functional bodies isn't about fitness. It's about reclaiming humanity itself. When we move with awareness, we inhabit ourselves. We feel the reality of our existence rather than abstractly knowing we exist. Touch, balance, breath, support these experiences constitute our sense of being here now. They cannot be outsourced to devices or algorithms. The most functional society in history is producing the least functional humans. But this isn't inevitable. Bodies are remarkably plastic. They respond to how we use them. A few deliberate choices about how we sit, stand, walk, and breathe can initiate profound changes. Not in weeks or months, but sometimes in moments. The body remembers how to function. We've just stopped asking it to. If this resonated with you, please like this video and subscribe for more content. Exploring the intersection of neuroscience, movement, and what it means to be human. Thanks for watching, and remember, your body is smarter than you think. It's just waiting for you to listen.